One of the historical events that I find fascinating is the French Revolution. The French Revolution occurred between 1789 and 1799 in France, and it was caused by a combination of social, economic, and political factors. The revolution was triggered by widespread discontent with the monarchy and the aristocracy's privileges. The French Revolution had a significant impact on history, as it led to the overthrow of the monarchy and the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. The revolution also paved the way for the development of modern democracy and human rights. The slogan Libet, Égalité, Fraternité, Liberty, Equality, Fraternity became the rallying cry of the revolution and a symbol of the struggle for human rights. One of the historical events that I find interesting is the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution began in the mid-18th century in Great Britain, and it was caused by a combination of technological advancements, access to resources, and population growth. The revolution transformed the world from an agrarian-based economy to a machine-based one. The Industrial Revolution had a significant impact on history, as it led to significant social, economic, and political changes. The rise of factories and machines led to the growth of urban areas and the development of new industries. The Industrial Revolution also contributed to the rise of capitalism and the expansion of colonialism. One of the historical events that I find interesting is the Civil Rights Movement in the United States. The Civil Rights Movement occurred in the 1950s and 1960s, and it was caused by a long history of discrimination and racism against African Americans. The movement aimed to end racial segregation and discrimination against African Americans. The Civil Rights Movement had a significant impact on history, as it led to the passage of civil rights legislation and the desegregation of schools and public spaces. The movement also paved the way for the election of the first African American president in the United States. The legacy of the Civil Rights Movement is still felt today, as it inspired other movements around the world for social justice and human rights. One of the historical events that I find interesting is the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis occurred in October 1962, and it was caused by the placement of Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba. The crisis led to a tense standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union, which lasted for 13 days. The Cuban Missile Crisis had a significant impact on history, as it brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. The crisis led to the establishment of a direct communication line between the United States and the Soviet Union to avoid misunderstandings and miscommunications. The crisis also increased public awareness of the dangers of nuclear weapons and the need for arms control. One of the historical events that I find interesting is the Renaissance. The Renaissance began in the 14th century in Italy, and it was caused by a renewed interest in classical learning and humanism. The Renaissance was a period of great artistic, intellectual, and scientific achievements. The Renaissance had a significant impact on history, as it marked a transition from the medieval to the modern world. The period saw the development of new technologies, like the printing press, which facilitated the dissemination of knowledge. The Renaissance also led to the emergence of new forms of art, like perspective painting, and the rise of scientific inquiry. The legacy of the Renaissance can still be seen today in the architecture, art, and literature of the Western world.